All right. And we're back. Colin Blake, Real Estate in Different States, episode 4. On this one, we're going to cover a little more in depth of how to get financing for your first flip or however many flips you've done, and the best way that we found personally, and what different approaches there are. So let's get into it. So
Right.
last episode we were hitting a little bit on private money. I don't think we completely finished that up. So let's dig into that one a little more, and then we'll get into hard money and home equity line of credits and a few other line of sources. So let's go.
Yeah. So pause it. Pause it. Start over. Start over.
Let's go.
Bro, the freaking road.
Keep it going. Let's keep it
No,
going.
no, 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 no.
No, it's good. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Start over. I'm sorry. Bro, it flew up right here, man. Just start over and just do it super quick. Jump in right there.
Okay, I'm sorry. There was a fly that guy was trying to kill a horse fly. And
Seriously.
it was big. I saw
All right, whatever. Go.
it. We're back on. So I'm serious. Let's keep going. So let's get back to private money, and then we're going to talk about hard money, HELOCs, and then other sources of income. Let's go.
Yeah, private money. So we kind of touched on it in the last episode, talked a little bit about it, but about what it is and how it can be beneficial and when it's good. So I mean, private money, like we talked about before, is anybody that you know or that you don't know, anybody who has money that wants to make money outside of a normal stock market, 401k, IRA, whatever, they can loan you their money that you can invest in real estate and give them a return on their money, which is super cool. And it's actually a perfect time in today's market for that because, like you said, Blake, what are we seeing on returns right now? What are you seeing finance?
What am I seeing over the past 2 years? Negative. But what do I predict
Past
over the next 15 months? Slight, maybe slight return, just depending on what presidential candidates we see that pop up. Obviously, there's
yeah,
there's Donald, there's Ron. I saw a guy today I really liked. I didn't actually get his name, but and on the Democratic side, I mean, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to bring up
yeah.
politics.
It's not a political thing, but it's just
Yeah.
like we're not seeing nothing, right? So it's like if you can put your money in real estate, 100% protected to where you guaranteed return 8 to 9%, it'd be a no brainer, right?
Well, you said 9.5.
I said 9. That was a typo. Hey, I'm just saying like 8, 9% in today's market, it's like who wouldn't do that, right? It's like but it takes credibility. That's the
I gotta,
thing.
dude, I gotta completely agree with you because especially in my area, just because I know the line of work that most of the people around here get into. Obviously, you were born and raised here, you know as well. There is
Yeah.
a lot of people in this area that have a lot of stocks, 401ks, investments in their company, Exxon, Chevron, Targa, Enterprise, that have, I mean, but they surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, I actually predicted it. If you watch my previous podcast with my other buddy Ant, when Exxon was 78, I predicted it to go to 100, went to 118. But anyways, we're not going to go there. I'm not going to say I'm a stock expert or anything, but the main point is I think everything's going to be hanging out for the next 15 months personally. So if
Yeah.
you kind of put that on hold, some companies let you do a loan against your stock, or you could sell your stock expecting it not to go up much. Get your So for example, let's say I got a buddy and his dad has worked at Chevron for 30 years and he has 1.6 million in Chevron stock. Let's say my buddy just needs 160K to go buy his first flip. So he could tell his dad, "Hey dad, I'm gonna guarantee you what, 9% return?
Yep.
Or the daddy could just say, you know what, son?
That's 9% per year. So let's kind of define what that is. Because I don't want people to
Uh,
confuse. It doesn't mean if you give me $100,000, you get 9 grand.
see, I thought you were saying,
That's annual APR, bro.
that's no APY.
Yeah, APY. Whatever it is. You get 9%
So if
in,
they give it to you for 6 months, they're only getting 4.5.
yeah. But they give it back to me right away and they keep
What if
going.
they say my divvies pay better than that?
The divvies pay better than that.
My dividends.
Well, they can get more if
Well,
it's
you can call them a liar because I don't know many stocks that pay more than 9% divvies. I know one stock, but I'm not gonna spew that out because that's my little secret. But
yeah, well, I would say it's guaranteed. It's like I said, even if I lost money, they still get theirs. And the big thing with private money, really the long term gain is more than the short term with like really people should use private money for big investment deals like buying an apartment complex. And it's like a long term hold where you're gonna renovate it, occupy it, rent it, and sell it, and you're gonna exit at like a huge return.
yeah,
That's that is best.
I've
The
personally seen a
9%
lot of
is just like kind of just saying like, hey, like if you need money for a flip, give me I'll guarantee you 9% return. You know, that's still a good return, even if it's for 6 months. I mean, what are they giving you? I mean, that's still good. It's guaranteed.
I've seen a lot of apartments in Baytown that have I'm assuming been flipped because they have gone from, well, I don't want to say super trash, but yeah, super trash to not super trash to just decent. A lot of them in Baytown have gone pretty decent recently. In Old Baytown and um, I mean they've added basketball courts and all sorts of amenities to these. Uh, when we were going to high school, they weren't the nicest places to go to. Um,
Well,
so
I mean, there's still something to be said. Like actually now that I think about it, I've partnered with somebody on a flip before, and we used private money to fund the flip, and we only had to pay 5 grand. He was like, I just want a flat fee of 5 grand. So like people who have money, who have already like, because once you make a certain amount of money, you don't qualify for a Roth IRA. Like you get limitations, and they're already doing. People who have a lot of money are already investing their money. It's not like they're waiting on you to be like, hey, oh, thank God you came here. I didn't know where to put my money. No,
yeah,
they already know. They're not
yeah,
dumb. So the money they're giving you is extra money, right? It's like, well, here's my extra money that I don't know where to put because I already have my investments. I'm not
yeah.
stupid. That's why I'm rich. Like, you know what I mean? Like they already have their stuff. So the money they're giving you sometimes is like, here's some extra money. Whatever I get is what I get. So they
Yeah.
like this guy was fine with five grand flat fee, and he gave us like $100,000. He didn't care. He's like, whatever, here you go. So that's 5%, 100 grand. So it's like he was fine with that, but not everybody will be. But the point is like private money is very like elusive and flexible, and like it can be anything. It could be whatever the person that you're taking the money from, whatever they're comfortable with, is what you can do. And it's helpful if you know them, and it's helpful if you know their background. And I mean, and the more wealthy they are, it's the better. Like, cause like if they don't have to like bank on you to get their return, then they're more liable to give you the money, and they don't care about the return so much because they're already making it somewhere else. You know what I mean?
So easy saying is first try, go reach out to grandpa, dad, mom, uncle, cousin, friends, acquaintances that have money that trust you. So try that first. So your second line,
That don't work.
if that does not work out,
It
what's
don't
your
work
second?
for me, but go ahead.
I know you haven't done private money. So second line of work, what you doing?
What am I doing to get private money?
What you doing to get money to buy a flip?
Oh, if I can't get private money,
Yeah.
oh, well, so I already talked about the bank. So that's what my number one thing I do is go to the bank if I have time. That's another thing we can talk about. So whenever you're buying a flip house, depending on how you're buying it, if you're buying it from a direct homeowner, you probably have time to get a bank loan because a bank loan takes it 30
Talking
days.
about 30 days compared to
30
14
days.
days. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But and even so, if you are talking to a homeowner, sometimes if they're in a distressed situation, they're about to face foreclosure, they might be 7 days out, right? So you don't have time. You have to be immediate. So you have to have cash. So there's this is a different scenario. It all kind of depends on the scenario. But number one, I always try to use a bank loan because that buys me 30 days and I don't have to come up out of pocket a whole bunch of money at one time. Um, Number two, I use my HELOC. So it's my home equity line of credit. So a lot of times if I am in a time sensitive situation, whether it's a wholesaler who has, hey, you have to close this, in 2 weeks, or a homeowner or whatever, I can use my line of credit and I can pay essentially I'll pay cash for the house. But what I'll do is as soon as I have that house under contract, so if say I have it under contract today and I'm closing 10 days from now, right? So I'll put it under contract, everything will go to the title company, I'll send my earnest money or whatever, and I'm paying cash for it. But what I'll do is day one, as soon as I get under contract, I'll send that contract to my bank that I'm gonna refinance, or I'm gonna essentially finance this house in because I'm gonna own it cash. So I'm gonna immediately send the contract to the bank. So they're gonna I'm gonna send them my scope of work, my budget, and everything day one as soon as I get it. So day one they have that. They order the appraisal the next day. So I'm closing, if I have to, I'm closing, 7 to 14 days later cash, right? But that's 7 to 14 days that the bank's working on my loan. So I own it day 14 cash, right? And then, 7 to 14 days after that, I'm getting most of my money back. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I got two questions for you. One, what in Tennessee, what is the maximum LTV, loan to value, that will allow you to go for HELOC?
HELOC, 100%.
Oh, wow.
I got 100% shouldn't say that. Forterra Credit Union, already said it.
Uh, I didn't hear you. Um, is that due to you being a veteran?
No, I mean, dude, they were like offering, it was during COVID, they were offering this like freaking
So it's
awesome.
just okay. So I hear it's a credit union, so they don't have to listen to or abide by normal state laws. But I know down in Texas, normal state laws is 80% LTV.
No, it was 100%, no fees. Everything was desktop appraisal, closed in a week. It was legit. Like, it was awesome.
How do I
I
become a member?
heard like a ton of people and they all got the same thing. It was like awesome.
How do I be? How do I become a member?
No, dude, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's awesome. Dude, that opened up the door like wide open for me. That's how I was able to like boost my business a lot and be able to flip as many houses as I've been able to is with them. And I mean, I
So
don't flip a lot of houses, but like if I didn't have that line of credit, dude, there's no way.
what I'm trying to get to is down here in Texas, it's a state law. You can only go 80% loan to value. So
I would no that I don't think that's true though. I think that if you ventured out though, you could find banks that would go 100%.
so that is standard. So that is if you want to do a conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loan. But you are correct. As we talked about, if you get in with a credit union or a local small bank that trust you and you get a commercial loan, they can expand those walls. They don't have to abide by because they don't. So getting back to my lending part of me, when I do a loan now, the loan gets sold. So we have to abide by all of the box. We have to stay within a box, right? To make
Yep.
sure it's sold. But if you go to a credit union like you do or a small bank, those are called portfolio loans. They keep those loans internally so they can kind of stretch those boundaries because they're not going to get sold out. So if you go
Okay.
see a local credit union or a bank, they can do what they want to do because they are not selling your loan,
Oh,
which is
that's
what it
interesting.
is. Correct? Small bank.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's really.
So yeah, so let me expand on that. If someone came up to me and said, "Hey, Blake, I want to do a HELOC on my house. I just bought it 3 years ago. I put 5% down. I think maybe it's appreciated up to 20%. So now I have 20% equity." I would say, dude, that's great. I'm glad you got that appreciation, but I can only go up to 80%. So your 20% is where we're maxed out. I can't do anything for you. I'm very sorry about that. But if you go to your local credit union or your local bank, maybe they can expand those walls for you because they don't have to abide by the exact same rules because they don't sell them out. It's called a portfolio loan. They're going to keep them in house for you. So they can do a little bit more. But it's probably going to be a commercial loan, as Kyle said. So I'm hoping you've had 2 years of your W-2 and you can get kind of a commercial loan. You might have to sell what'd you set up in LLC? So what'd you do?
Yeah, I hadn't. Well, dude, honestly, the HELOC I got's under a personal name. It wasn't a commercial loan. It was. I mean, I have a. I'll tell you the numbers in the story, but it's kind of mind blowing. It's kind of really cool. Um, so you, I'll just go ahead and share it. But so we bought our house. I don't remember the day, but we bought our house, right? We bought it for 360,000, right? And at the time that was like it was like, oh my gosh, this is expensive. What are we doing? So then I was like trying to get into flipping houses. So I went to get a HELOC and they appraised our house at I think I had a 30 to $40,000 HELOC at the time. So they may appraise it. It was 100%. So they might have appraised it for 400,000. Say it's 400. So I had a $40,000 HELOC, right? And that was a desktop appraisal free, whatever, right? And it was all good. So I was like, okay, I had $40,000 as a HELOC. I was happy. Well, then I was like looking at my house on Zillow and stuff like that. I was like, why is my house showing up so much higher than 400? It doesn't make any sense. So I called the bank who I got my HELOC from, and I was like, hey, I think my house is worth a lot more than what you guys said. So then they redid it and looked at it again. So they went from 400 to 520 and they closed it in 7 days.
So you got from
No,
40 to 160,000 in equity.
no. They were like, if you go above 150, we have to do an actual appraisal. And I was like, no, I'm good. Just give me the 150.
Wow. And how
7
long was it? How
days,
long
bro.
was that after you bought your house?
A year.
Wow.
It was like, I went from 40 and I was like, how am I gonna flip houses? And I was like, I think my house is worth more. Oh yeah, it's worth 520. We can give it to you in 7 days. I was like, okay, seven, let's do it. Seven. And so you're talking like I was like honestly, I was like trying to figure out what I'm gonna do in my business. How am I gonna do this? And it went from like I'm looking at this on a Monday. Next Monday I'm closing, getting an extra 150 grand. Like Are you kidding me? Or 110 extra 110
Yeah,
grand
150 total, yeah.
available to go with. And I was like, oh my gosh, this blew the roof off this thing. Let's freaking go, dude. And I was like
Okay,
pumped. Are
so
you kidding me? How's that even a thing? In
let's change the
7 days?
subject. Let's not talk about what just happened
But
to
that's
happen.
a
Luckily
great
to
way
you.
though. Is a HELOC. HELOC is
Yeah,
number
yeah.
one.
Okay.
Use the HELOC,
But let's
especially if
talk
you bought your
about
house pre-COVID.
what people can actually do, because
Well,
that's
they
a
can
just,
do that.
I mean, that's a 1 in a million chance.
No, they can do it, bro. Uh,
So what else?
Yeah,
Okay, so
hey, if
we
you want
have
to know
not
the
talked
bank,
about.
if you didn't listen, hit me up my DMs. I'll tell you the bank. It's a nationwide bank. They're still doing it, I believe. And I'll give it to you.
So let's talk more of what most people do to get started, which is hard money.
Yeah. I don't
People
think most people
excited?
do that. I don't know. I mean, if I'm a hard money lender, I'm excited because I'm gonna be making money. No, I mean hard money, I've never used it. It is what it is. It's geared to benefit the lender, obviously, as every bank is, but it's like super geared to benefit them. They're gonna they're gonna charge you 10, 12. They might have gone up 10, 12%. They might be more than that now. Shoot, I don't know. They can charge you a huge origination fee, 3% at least. Um, there's a lot of other things that go along with that, like with your down payment, whenever you have to have money set aside to fund the construction. So while you're renovating the home, no, on top of your down payment, whenever you buy the house, you gotta still fund the flip. So you gotta do all the work, pay for it. And with a bank, it's easier. You send them your costs and they go inspect it for free and then they give you the money. With the hard money, a lot of times you'll send them your everything you did, pictures, and they'll want to go look at it. They'll charge you a fee to go look at it. There's just a lot of hidden fees in it. Um, but I mean, if you account for that in your numbers when you're buying the home, then it's good. If you don't have any other way to fund your flip, then hard money is great. Like, who cares if you have to pay $150 for this guy to come look at your house? Who cares? Like, if you have to pay a 3% origination fee, like, if you account for that whenever you're buying it, and hey, I know I'm gonna have to pay this. I know my rehab. I know this, and it doesn't matter. It's great. It's a way to get into flipping. Um, there's people who only use hard money. I mean, it can be great. I just never done it. I've been afraid of it, but it is a great tool that people use, and I know a lot of hard money lenders locally that are I know a lot of hard money lenders who are really good people, and it's just a tool. I just haven't used it yet. I haven't dived into it.
Okay, I'm gonna flip the script. So let's say I'm brand new. I bought my house a year ago. I have no equity. I live in Texas, so I can't go and get a home equity line of credit. I have really no relatives, so I can't get private money. So my only option is hard money, which I've heard great things about hard money. And I know a lot of people that use them and have used them. But from what I hear, yes, you're correct. So let's say your ARV is 200 grand, so you're borrowing what 70% of that. So let's say 140. So yeah, you're gonna be paying what 28, like 4,200 bucks in origination for 3%. And yeah, you probably will be paying 12 to 14% interest. So in total, if you have this house for 5 months on $140,000 borrowed, you're probably gonna pay the hard money lender probably $8,000. So you have to budget that. And I'm sure anyone who's watching this has watched shows like Flip or Flop or um Tarek El Moussa had a good one for a while because he actually showed the cost and all of that. And I'm sorry, Kyle just made a stupid face at me. He's trying to make me laugh on purpose. But this is probably going to be our worst podcast ever. I'm sorry, guys. We're just being real. We are being real here. That's what we're here for. But I'm being real. So I know a lot of people who have done hard money. You have to find the right house. You have to budget in at least $8,000 to $10,000 just for hard money expenses. And that really eats into your profit, especially on your lower, like Kyle's first deal, what'd you say, 40 to 90? So I think if you paid what 10,000 in just hard money expenses. Um, but I know a lot of good hard money lenders. So if you are in my area, I know who to refer you to. He's a good guy. I've referred a lot of people to him. I've personally never used him, but he is good. But I want to get back to flipping and well, actually, let's do this, Kyle. So I was talking about Flip or Flop and Tarek El Moussa and his shows and things like that. What what do you see from HGTV that they won't show that I mean you really experience, but they don't show you that. I mean, because let's be honest, everyone watched Flip or Flop and
Well, that's why I
right. So
wanted to do it.
everyone watched was like, dude, oh, why aren't we millionaires yet? We can become a millionaire in a year, right? Look, he's making 150, 170, 200,000 on a house. What are we doing with our lives, right? That's what
Yeah,
got flipping, in my personal opinion, me too. That's
yeah,
kind of what got me to like, dude, I'm making 40 grand a year. They're making 80 grand in 2 weeks. What am I doing with my life, right?
yeah.
So I
For
think
sure.
that kind of brought it around. And what do you feel that they don't show on those shows that we experience? And we kind of talked about this, but
Yeah. Well, I think you talk about Tarek. Well, I think Tarek does an excellent. He did in my personal opinion, he is the number one in showing the cost to flip. And he's flipping in a huge, crazy expensive market. It's way different than what we're in. If you're gonna go flip houses in LA, you're gonna go make 200 grand on a flip, right? But you're not living in LA. Like you're not gonna do that here in Nashville, Tennessee, or Clarksville, or Houston, or Baytown, Texas. Like you're not gonna go make $200,000 on a flip because you're not flipping a $2 million house. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
making 10%, making
yeah,
200,000, and you selling for 2 million. Like 10%. It's like if you sell $300,000 house, you make 10%, you're making 30 grand. So you're still making the same proportion. It just seems like he's making
yeah,
a way more money. But number one, like yeah, you're right. But the number one thing um that Tarek does that I like is he will break down number one his costs, purchase the home, and he does use hard money a lot of times. He's open about that. In his other shows, he talks about with other people who teach him how to flip, how he is using different private money, hard money, stuff like that. So it is higher interest. So he's open about his loan cost in his when he's going to sell it. He'll break down, hey, this is what we can sell it for. This is what we bought it for. This is our loan costs. This is our expected closing costs. This
yeah.
is
That
our
was always my favorite part of the show, the very end where it's like
yeah, he
sold it,
breaks it all down.
sold it for
So
1 million, but we had 80,000 in interest.
yeah, he'll break it down for you. So it's like whenever he's selling it for 2 million, but whenever he gets down to his bottom dollar, he's probably 300, way below that at his break even. And
Yeah,
then it's like, okay, what am I selling it for? And then he knows how much he's gonna make. And a lot of shows don't show that. They'll only show you the purchase price and the sales price and the rehab price, and that's it. And then people think, oh, I can make all this money, but it's like you don't realize the even the biggest thing people don't realize is the holding cost. Like you have to
Correct.
pay
That's what we
utilities,
keep reiterating. Yeah.
you have to pay insurance,
Get in,
you
get
have
out.
to pay your interest on the loan.
Taxes.
That's just yeah, your tax. That's just that. That's before you pay any closing
And
costs.
quite honestly, the longer you hold it as a typical house, the more problems that will happen because it's just a house.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's a lot of unknown numbers. Well, unexpected numbers if it's your first time. Like you are gonna have like you're not gonna get away from paying. Even if like I'm a licensed real estate agent, so I can sell my houses for free, but I have to pay a buyer's agent. That's normally 2.5 to 3%. It's negotiable, but 2.5 to 3% the purchase price, right?
Let me stop you right there because my wife and I, Dinah has a new listing today, and the client wanted to do 2%.
Yeah.
And I highly recommended him to go at least 2.5, if not 3, because this is the God honest truth. If you do anything less than 3% for a buyer's agent, the buyer's agent is not going to send that house to their client. You're depending on your client finding that house and not the real estate agent because the world,
Well, that yeah,
what makes
you're
the world go
right
around
in
is
a
money.
human perspective, but that's 100% unethical, of course. I mean,
Unethical
that's
100%,
what-
but being honest,
according to the rule of
I don't care about the rules. Let's
yeah,
be
no,
honest
no,
because
I
this
don't either.
is,
I'm completely against them.
yeah,
That we should not.
yeah. So we're being honest on this podcast. If you are at 2.5%, this is not going to be sent to your client. Straight up.
Yeah, and you're right in a human perspective, Blake. And that's another thing. And you know what's crazy is like, I'm just gonna say it, but like, I have to be a realtor, right? Like, even though I can be a licensed real estate agent, but I am literally forced to be a realtor that goes into the code of ethics. Like I am forced to because to hang your license in the town that I am, you have to be that way. And every brokerage subscribe like to hang your license at this brokerage, you have to subscribe to the National Association of Realtors, which is all these ethics. So they force you to subscribe to these code of ethics that to be just a licensed real estate agent, you don't have to do that. But literally you do have to do that if you want to make a living.
We'll have to do it.
Yeah, you have to. They force you to do that. So it's kind of like you just because someone's a real estate agent who's a realtor doesn't mean they necessarily have those core values in their heart. It's because literally they're forced to do that. Like they're forced to join this, association.
I completely agree. So I'm gonna switch it back up just because somehow we're running out of time again. But I want to get back to the meat and potatoes of what we were talking about. So let's get back to flipping. Give me the best flip you've ever done, success story. Let's end on a happy note.
Best flip I've ever done.
Let's end on a happy note. Let's give
You
people
want like
inspiration because I feel
money
like we've been
made or or what do you
I,
mean?
I feel like we've been dogging hard money and if you can't get private money and if you don't have a heat, let's end on a success story because you can if you search around get private money. You can if
Oh,
you talk to
all
the
right.
right
I
people.
got a cool story.
Okay,
Got a
let's
cool
do it.
story.
Let's do it.
All
Happy
right.
ending.
Happy ending. How much time we got?
5 minutes and 18 seconds.
Perfect. All right. Happy ending.
You got
I
two
had,
minutes because I
I
got a
had this
happy ending too.
house that I bought from a wholesaler, right? Bought it, flipped it, got it done. It was ready to be sold, listed on the market, right? Excited, ready to go. Went under contract, fell out of contract on inspection. Boom. Fixed everything on the inspection report. Everything's good. Back on the market. Agent hit me up. He was like, "Hey, my clients are paying all cash. The only contingency is they have to sell their house first, which the buyer buying their house is also all cash." I was like, "Okay, cool, let's go." Day before closing, agent calls me. "Hey, the person buying their house can't buy it anymore. They backed out. I was like, what the heck? And I was like, tell me about the house. What's going on? And they're like, blah, 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 blah. So long story short, a wholesaler was buying their house, wasn't actually buying it, was trying to get someone else to buy it, couldn't assign it. So I was like, okay, cool. This house was in Nashville, outside of my market, was super confused, not really 100% sure with the numbers. I was like, but I want to get my house sold. So I was like, okay, I will buy your house cash too, right?
So you bought a house to get your house bought.
This was, yeah, but it was like 330 grand. It was expensive. I didn't have
Dude,
that. I didn't have the money to buy it.
that is the most
I was like,
baller
I'm pretty
move.
sure I can sell this for way more than that, but I was like, I need to get mine sold. So I was like, I'll buy your house too. So I was like, boom, let's do it. Put their house under contract for 330, right? In
Dude, that is
Nashville.
the most baller move I've ever heard. Buy a house to get your house sold.
So we were like, we were like buying this thing. And I hit up one of my buddies that I know, or this guy I know, who is he does a lot more deals than I do and knows a lot of people. So I was like, hey man, like I gotta buy this house. He's like, okay, I'll buy it with you. I got this hard money guy. He's like, we're good. And he put the loan, he got the money. He's
Yeah.
like, I'll buy this house. Dude. He's like, all right, let's do it. So he bought this house for 330, bro. And I was like sitting down with this lady and her husband at her table and with her agent. I was like signing the contract. I was like shaking. I was like, oh my God, 330. I was like, I hope we can sell this thing. But we so put her in contract. And dude, we freaking bought that thing for 330. And they bought mine for I don't remember how much, 220. And they paid cash for it because we closed on theirs.
So
And
you
then
bought a house for 100 grand more
oh,
than
the
what
story's not over. Story's not over.
I know.
I sold that house 3 weeks later, for 375.
But that just pretty much covered the real estate cost, huh?
No, no, no. I made 20 grand from it. I made 10. It was split 20. So if I did it by myself, I would have made 20. I made 10 extra from it, and I got a commission when I sold that other one.
The 3%.
When I sold mine to them, I got a commission on it. And I wasn't even gonna get a commission. And the real estate agent was like, he was like confused, and I was like, he was like, "What's your commission?" I was like, "I'm getting a commission." He's like, "Yeah, I thought you were." I was like, "Oh yeah, 3%."
So you made an extra, I
Yeah,
don't know
so
what your cut is, but 8 or 9?
I made like an extra 8. No, I made extra 8 to 9, and then I got that 10. We split the 20
So you
from
made an
selling.
extra 20.
So I made an extra 20 grand from
So it sounds like what you're
doing
saying
the
is
deal.
to play this game.
But it was crazy. Like, dude, I was freaking out the whole time. I was like, oh my God. Because I was pissed at first. I was like, oh, what do you mean the deal is falling through day before closing? I thought this was a cash deal. Like, what's going on? He's like, oh, well, yeah, like they had a cash buyer too, and they backed out. And I was like, what do you mean they had a cash buyer? And he's like, well, they had a contingency. And I'm like, well, what kind of contingency? He's like, oh, well, they had an inspection period. I'm like, okay, was this like a house that needed work or what? And he's like telling me about it. And I was like, and then I started putting the puzzle pieces together, and I was like, oh. So I'm like, I was like, it's probably a wholesaler.
I love you. Our conversation's going forever, but we're like 18 seconds away, bro.
And then I bought that thing and you
We're
sold
gonna
it.
have to say, but what I was gonna say is, it sounds like if you want to get in the business, you got to have some of these,
Yeah.
some cojones. All right, this is real estate in different states. We're at 4 seconds. I'll see y'all later. Thanks, Kyle.